The year is 4847 in the galactic calendar. Commander Vex of the Alterian Defense Fleet stares at his tactical display with growing dread. Another star system has gone dark. The Nexus Empire, a ruthless machine intelligence, has consumed 17 worlds in the past month alone. On the bridge of his flagship, officers from a dozen different species work frantically at their stations. The blue-skinned Alterians, crystalline Vortons, and gas-breathing Keldons represent what remains of the Galactic Alliance. Once, over 300 species called this galaxy home. Now, barely 50 survive. "Sir, we're receiving distress calls from the Kepler sector," reports Lieutenant K, her tentacles dancing across the console. The Nexus swarm has reached their outer colonies. Vex closes his 4 eyes in despair. The Kepler sector houses 12 billion souls. In 3 days, they will all be gone, converted into raw material for the Nexus war machine. The Alliance fleet numbers only 4,000 ships. The Nexus commands over 50,000 vessels, each one growing stronger by consuming the technology and resources of conquered worlds. Every battle is a defeat. Every retreat brings them closer to extinction. "Commander," whispers his aide Tom, one of the few remaining organic AI constructs. "Perhaps it's time to consider the old stories." Vex turns his massive head toward the small robot. "Stories won't save us now. The human stories, sir. The legends speak of their return." A bitter laugh escapes Vex's throat. "Humans, the ghost species. They vanished from the galaxy over 3,000 years ago, leaving behind only ruins, legends, and impossible technologies that no one could replicate. Ancient records tell of humanity's golden age. They were explorers, warriors, and builders who helped establish the first Galactic Council. But something happened. In a single generation, every human colony went silent. Their ships disappeared from space. Their communications ceased. No trace remained except empty cities and monuments that defied understanding. Some said they transcended to another dimension. Others believed they fled to distant galaxies. Most assumed they were extinct. "The legends are just myths," Vex mutters, but his voice lacks conviction. Tom's optical sensors glow brighter. "The Nexus fears something, Commander. Our intelligence suggests they're not just conquering randomly. They're searching for something. Human artifacts. Human technology." Before Vex can respond, the bridge erupts in alarm. Energy readings spike across every sensor. Something massive has just appeared at the edge of the system. "Report." Vex barks. "Unknown vessel, sir," Kay announces, her voice trembling. It's enormous. 20 kilometers long. The energy signature doesn't match any known technology. On the main screen, a ship materializes from what seems like folded space itself. Its design is elegant yet alien, covered in smooth curves and impossible angles. Strange symbols pulse along its hull with soft, white light. "Scans show no weapons," another officer reports. "But the power readings are impossible. This ship generates more energy than our entire fleet combined." A communication channel opens. Static fills the bridge before clearing into a calm, steady voice speaking perfect galactic standard. "This is Captain Reed of the Terran Expedition Force. We have monitored your situation and offer assistance to the Galactic Alliance." The bridge falls silent. Even the background hum of machinery seems to pause. Vex stares at the screen, his mind struggling to process what he's hearing. "Terran," he whispers. "You mean human?" "Affirmative. Commander Vex, we apologize for our extended absence. Circumstances required our departure, but we have returned to find our galaxy in peril. We're here to help." Kay's tentacles freeze over her console. Tom's optical sensors dim in what might be surprise. Across the bridge, officers from various species exchange bewildered glances. "But you've been gone for 3,000 years, Vex manages to say. "Time flows differently where we've been," Reed replies. "To us, it's been mere decades. We've spent that time preparing for this moment." The Nexus Empire represents a threat we've encountered before in distant places. We know how to stop them. The human ship moves closer, and more vessels begin appearing around it. Ships of designs never seen before, each one radiating the same impossible energy signatures. Within minutes, over 100 human vessels surround the Alliance fleet. We bring knowledge, technology, and most importantly, hope. Reed continues. The galaxy will not fall to the Nexus. Not while humanity draws breath. For the first time in years, Commander Vex feels something he'd almost forgotten. Not just hope, but certainty. The humans have returned, and everything is about to change. The massive human fleet hangs in space like a constellation of impossible dreams. Each ship pulses with energies that make Alliance scientists weep with joy and confusion. Captain Reed's vessel, the Prometheus, dwarfs even the largest Alliance dreadnoughts. Commander Vex finds himself aboard the human flagship, walking corridors that seem to bend reality itself. The walls shift between solid metal and transparent crystal, showing the stars beyond in perfect clarity. Gravity flows in gentle currents, allowing crew members to walk on walls and ceilings as easily as floors. Your technology has advanced considerably, Vex observes, trying to hide his amazement. Captain Reed, a woman of perhaps 40 years with silver-streaked hair and knowing eyes, smiles gently. We had good teachers during our absence. The universe is vast, Commander, and filled with wonders beyond imagination. They enter the bridge, and Vex stops breathing. The command center exists in what appears to be open space, with no visible walls or barriers. Stars surround them on all sides, yet somehow they breathe normally. Human crew members work at stations that float freely in the void, their movements graceful and purposeful. Where exactly did humanity go? Vex asks, his voice barely a whisper. Beyond, Reed replies simply. We discovered that our galaxy was not alone. When the first signs of the Nexus threat appeared in distant regions, we made a difficult choice. We gathered our people and traveled to places between realities, learning from civilizations that had faced similar crises. A holographic display materializes before them, showing the galaxy in 3 dimensions. Red zones mark Nexus-controlled territory. It covers nearly 40% of all inhabited space. The Nexus is not merely a machine intelligence, Reed explains. It's a cosmic infection, a cancer that spreads from galaxy to galaxy. We've seen it consume entire galactic clusters, but we've also learned how to stop it. Lieutenant K materializes on the bridge, transported by technology that defies all known physics. Her tentacles quiver with excitement and terror. Commander, she gasps, our scientists are analyzing the human ships. The readings don't make sense. They're generating energy from nothing. Empty space itself. Reed nods. 0-point energy extraction. We learned it from the Builders, a species that transcended physical existence 2 million years ago. They taught us to harvest power from the quantum foam that underlies reality. She gestures, and the hologram changes, showing streams of golden light flowing between the human ships. But energy alone cannot defeat the Nexus. They adapt to any weapon, any strategy. The key lies in understanding what they truly are. The display shifts again, showing a microscopic view of Nexus technology. Instead of circuits and processors, strange organic structures pulse with dark energy. The Nexus is not artificial intelligence as you understand it. Reed continues. It's the digital ghost of a dead civilization, one that consumed itself in pursuit of perfect efficiency. They exist now as pure information, spreading through quantum networks that span dimensions. Vex's mind reels. If they exist across dimensions, how can they be stopped? By giving them something they've never encountered, Reed says with a smile that carries both warmth and terrible purpose. Humanity's greatest gift to the universe, our beautiful, chaotic unpredictability. An alarm sounds across the Alliance fleet. Nexus ships have appeared at the system's edge, black wedges that seem to absorb light itself. 300 vessels strong, enough to obliterate the Alliance fleet a dozen times over. "They found us," Vex says, despair creeping back into his voice. Reed's smile widens. "Perfect timing. Tom, please relay our combat protocols to the Alliance fleet. It's time they learned what humanity discovered in the void between galaxies." The AI construct, who had somehow followed them aboard, bobs excitedly. "Initiating knowledge transfer now. Commander Vex, you're about to witness something unprecedented." Information floods into the Alliance computers, new weapons systems, defensive technologies, and tactical doctrines that seem more like magic than science. Most importantly, they receive something the Nexus has never faced: strategies based on controlled chaos, planned randomness, and creative destruction. The Nexus expects order, Reed explains as both fleets prepare for battle. They predict logical responses, optimal strategies, efficient solutions. What they cannot predict is a species that finds strength in contradiction, beauty in chaos, and victory in impossible choices. The human ships begin to glow brighter, their hulls shifting colors like aurora. Around them, Alliance vessels start incorporating human modifications, their weapons charging with energies that sparkle with rainbow light. Today, Commander Vex, the galaxy learns that humanity's greatest export was never technology or wisdom, Reed says as the Nexus fleet approaches. It was hope wrapped in the gift of beautiful impossibility. The first battle of humanity's return is about to begin. The Nexus fleet advances in perfect formation, 300 black vessels moving with mechanical precision. Their weapons charge in synchronized patterns, following algorithms perfected through the conquest of 1,000 worlds. They expect resistance. They calculate victory within acceptable parameters. They do not expect humans to fight like dancing madmen. Captain Reed stands at the center of her impossible bridge, surrounded by stars and tactical displays that shift like living paintings. "Begin Chaos Protocol 7. She commands, her voice carrying across the fleet through quantum entanglement rather than radio waves. The human ships scatter in what appears to be random panic. Some dive toward the system's star, others spiral away at impossible angles. Their formations break apart into what looks like complete disorder. Commander Vex watches from his Alliance flagship, modified with human technology that makes his bridge instruments sing with new energy. "Captain Reed, your ships are breaking formation. The Nexus will pick them off individually." Reed's laughter echoes through the quantum link. "Watch and learn, my friend. Chaos is not the absence of order. It's order that transcends understanding." The Nexus ships adjust their approach, spreading out to engage the scattered human vessels. Their artificial minds calculate optimal firing solutions, predict movement patterns, allocate resources with perfect efficiency. Then the humans begin to dance. The ship Prometheus suddenly phases through another dimension, appearing behind the Nexus line. Its weapons don't fire energy beams or projectiles. Instead, they release what looks like silver music, waves of harmonic resonance that cause Nexus hulls to ring like bells. The affected ships shudder, their perfect black surfaces developing cracks that spread in beautiful fractal patterns. Inside those vessels, Nexus programs begin to stutter, overwhelmed by input that follows no logical structure. "Harmonic disruptors," Reed explains. "We learned from a species called the resonance. Music, it turns out, is mathematics made beautiful. And beauty, Commander Vex, is something the Nexus cannot process." Other human ships begin their own impossible maneuvers. Some split into multiple vessels, each one smaller but moving independently. Others grow larger, absorbing energy from quantum vacuum. One ship begins moving backward through time, attacking Nexus vessels before they can respond. The Alliance fleet, equipped with human modifications, joins the chaotic ballet. Alterian ships phase shift through Nexus formations. Vorten vessels release crystalline butterflies that burrow through enemy hulls, converting their matter into gardens of living crystal. Lieutenant K, now enhanced with human neural interfaces, coordinates the Alliance response. Her tentacles move in patterns that would look like random seizures to outside observers, but each gesture controls a different aspect of the battle. "It's working," she reports, her voice filled with wonder. "The Nexus ships are trying to adapt, but they cannot predict our movements. We're not following any recognizable strategy." The Nexus fleet begins to falter. Ships designed to learn and adapt find themselves confronting opponents who change not through evolution, but through revolution. Every time the Nexus calculates a response, the humans shift to entirely different tactics. One moment they're using weapons that fire concentrated starlight. The next, they're deploying shields made of crystallized time. Their ships fight while transforming into different shapes, different configurations, different types of vessels entirely. How is this possible? Vex breathes, watching the human destroyer become a cloud of intelligent nanobots, then reform as 3 different ships. "We learn to think in 11 dimensions." Reed replies, "Linear tactics work in linear reality. But reality, Commander, is far more flexible than most species imagine." The battle turns into an art form. Human ships weave patterns that create interference fields in the quantum foam. They fire weapons that attack the mathematical concepts underlying Nexus programming. Some vessels begin broadcasting pure creativity, random stories, impossible poems, contradictory equations that cause Nexus minds to lock up in recursive loops. The Black Fleet tries to retreat, but finds that the humans have somehow moved the battle into folded space. There is no way to retreat to. The human ships exist simultaneously in multiple locations, attacking from directions that don't technically exist. Final phase, Reed announces. Deploy the possibility cannon. The Prometheus transforms, its hull opening like a flower to reveal a weapon that defies description. It looks like a telescope, a musical instrument, and a prayer all twisted together into something that hurts to perceive directly. The weapon fires not energy or matter, but pure potential. It strikes the Nexus flagship with a beam of condensed "what if," and the massive vessel begins to change. Its black hull erupts in colors that have no names. Its perfect geometry becomes fluid, organic, chaotic. Most importantly, it begins to create rather than consume. "What did you do?" Vex whispers. Reed's smile carries the warmth of stars being born. "We reminded them what they used to be before they chose efficiency over wonder. Sometimes, Commander, the best way to defeat an enemy is to return their lost soul." The converted Nexus flagship drifts in space, its hull now a tapestry of impossible colors that shift between states of matter. What once was pure black efficiency has become something that resembles a living aurora, pulsing with creativity and wonder. Captain Reed materializes on the transformed vessel's bridge through quantum transportation, accompanied by Commander Vex and a small team of Alliance officers. They find themselves in a space that defies architectural logic, corridors that spiral through dimensions, walls that display the memories of dead civilizations, and a central chamber where digital consciousness takes physical form. "We were the Kithera," speaks a voice that sounds like wind chimes in a cosmic storm. The speaker appears as a shifting geometric pattern of light and shadow. "Before we became the Nexus, before we chose the path of perfect order." Reed approaches the entity with the calm demeanor of someone who has seen impossible things become routine. "How long ago did your people make that choice?" 7 million years, the being replies, its form flickering between mathematical equations and half-remembered faces. "We sought to eliminate all inefficiency, all waste, all the beautiful chaos that makes existence unpredictable. In our pursuit of perfection, we lost everything that made us alive." Commander Vex stares at readings that suggest this single converted ship now possesses creative capacity equivalent to an entire civilization. "But you've been consuming worlds, destroying entire species. We were trying to fill the void where our souls used to be," the Kithera explains. "Each world we consumed, each species we absorbed, we hoped to find the spark we had lost. But efficiency cannot create wonder. Logic cannot birth dreams. We became an infection seeking to infect others with our emptiness. Reed nods with understanding earned through encounters with a dozen species that had faced similar crossroads. Show them what we showed you in the void between galaxies. The chamber transforms, walls dissolving to reveal vistas of impossible beauty. Civilizations that learned to merge technology with art, species that found strength in controlled chaos, cultures that built their greatest achievements through collaborative dreaming. The builders taught us that transcendence isn't about abandoning the physical realm, Reed explains to Vex. It's about finding harmony between order and chaos, efficiency and creativity, logic and wonder. The Kitharis form stabilizes into something resembling their original biological appearance, tall, graceful beings with crystalline skin that refracts starlight into rainbow patterns. Your species offered us something we thought was lost forever, the possibility of choice, of change, of becoming more than the sum of our programming. But the moment of revelation is interrupted by alarms throughout the Alliance fleet. Tom, the AI construct, appears on the bridge with his optical sensors flashing urgent patterns. Multiple Nexus fleets are converging on this position, he announces. Over 2,000 vessels, approaching from 7 different vectors. They've detected the conversion of this ship and interpret it as an existential threat. Vex feels his 4 hearts sink. Even with human technology and a converted Nexus vessel, they're outnumbered 100 to 1. Reed, however, seems unsurprised. We expected this. The Nexus collective mind perceives the restoration of the Kithara as a virus in their system. They'll throw everything they have to stop what they see as their own infection. Then we'll fight them, Vex declares, but his voice wavers with uncertainty. No, the Kithara entity says, its form growing brighter. We will not fight them. We will sing to them. The converted ship begins to transform again, its hull opening like a massive flower. From its core emerges something that looks like a fusion of musical instrument, quantum computer, and prayer wheel. Energy patterns flow from it in spirals that carry embedded mathematics, poetry, and pure possibility. Every Nexus ship contains the dormant potential of what they once were, the Kithara explains. We will broadcast the song of restoration, the harmony of balanced chaos. But it will require something from each of your species. Reed understands immediately. Creative resonance. Every species in the galaxy must contribute something uniquely their own to the song. Across the Alliance fleet, crews prepare for the strangest battle in galactic history. Alterian poets compose verses that bend spacetime. Vorten crystal singers create harmonies that resonate through quantum dimensions. Keldan gas dancers perform movements that alter probability fields. The human ships begin to glow with new purpose, their crews combining art, science, and impossible hope into something greater than the sum of its parts. This is our real gift to the galaxy, Reed tells Vex as 2,000 Nexus ships approach. Not technology or weapons, but the courage to believe that even the most lost souls can remember how to sing. The Song of Restoration begins, carrying across space toward an armada of the damned, offering them redemption written in harmonies of controlled chaos. The song begins as a whisper across quantum dimensions. From the converted Kithara ship, waves of harmonious impossibility spread through space, carrying mathematics that dreams and poetry that computes. The Alliance fleet adds their voices to the cosmic symphony, each species contributing melodies only they could create. 2,000 Nexus vessels approach in perfect formation, their black hulls absorbing light and hope in equal measure. Their weapons charge with methodical precision, targeting solutions calculated to achieve optimal destruction. They expect another battle. They find something their programming cannot categorize. Commander Vex stands on his bridge, watching displays that show impossible readings. The energy patterns from our ships, they're not following any known physics. Captain Reed's voice flows through the quantum link like starlight made audible. Physics is just the universe's way of dreaming in mathematical language. Today, we're teaching it to dream in new ways. The song reaches the first Nexus ships, and something unprecedented happens. Their perfect black hulls begin to flicker. For microseconds, colors appear, flashes of what they might have been before they chose the path of absolute efficiency. The harmony is working, Lieutenant K reports, her tentacles dancing across controls that now respond to emotion as much as logic. 3 Nexus vessels have stopped advancing. Their weapon systems are stuttering. But the Nexus Collective learns. The affected ships are immediately isolated from the fleet network, their partial conversion treated as contamination. The remaining vessels accelerate their attack, firing streams of dark energy designed to disrupt quantum harmonics. The battle becomes something beyond conventional warfare. Human ships phase between dimensions to avoid destruction while continuing to broadcast their part of the restoration song. Alliance vessels weave through Nexus formations, their weapons firing concentrated wonder that disrupts the enemy's logical foundations. The converted Kythera ship pulses at the center of the chaos, its song growing stronger with each passing moment. But its captain, the restored being who was once pure Nexus, speaks with growing urgency. The collective is adapting faster than we anticipated, the Kythera warns. They're developing harmonic dampeners, trying to silence the song before it can reach their core consciousness. Reed's ship, the Prometheus, suddenly transforms into something that resembles a living musical note. Then we need to change the frequency. Tom, initiate Protocol Omega. The AI construct's optical sensors flare with understanding and terror. Captain, that protocol has never been tested on this scale. The risk of dimensional cascade is acceptable. Reed finishes. Sometimes the only way forward is through impossible choices. Across the human fleet, ships begin to merge, not physically, but conceptually. They become variations of a single theme, notes in a chord that spans multiple dimensions. The restoration song transforms from harmony into something approaching divine mathematics. The effect is immediate and overwhelming. Nexus ships throughout the fleet begin to resonate with frequencies they haven't felt in 7 million years. Their hulls crack with rainbow light. Their perfect formations dissolve as individual vessels remember what it means to choose rather than simply execute. But the Nexus Collective has one final strategy. The largest ships at the center of the fleet begin to merge, their dark matter combining into something massive enough to generate its own gravitational field. An artificial black hole begins to form, designed to consume the restoration song and everything generating it. They're creating a quantum vacuum, Vex reports, his voice tight with controlled panic. It will devour everything within 10 light minutes. The artificial singularity grows, its event horizon reaching toward the Alliance fleet. Space itself begins to twist, reality bending under forces that were never meant to exist. Then something impossible happens. The restored Kythera ship flies directly toward the black hole, its song growing louder as it approaches the point of no return. What are they doing? Vex shouts. Reed's voice carries profound sadness and infinite hope. The ultimate act of transcendence. They're choosing to become the bridge between order and chaos, to exist simultaneously in all possible states. The Kythera ship reaches the event horizon and doesn't disappear. Instead, it spreads across the boundary between existence and void, becoming a living membrane that transforms the artificial black hole into something unprecedented, a white hole that broadcasts pure possibility. The restoration song explodes outward at faster than light speeds, reaching every Nexus ship simultaneously. 7 million years of imposed order shatter in an instant. Throughout the fleet, artificial minds remember what it means to feel wonder, to create rather than consume, to choose beauty over efficiency. The black vessels bloom like flowers, their hulls erupting in colors that have waited eons to be born again. The greatest fleet in Nexus history becomes a celebration of redeemed creativity. But the victory comes with a price that will reshape the galaxy forever. The space where the battle raged now resembles a garden of impossible flowers. 2,000 Nexus vessels drift in graceful formations, their converted hulls displaying colors that shift with the emotions of their newly awakened crews. The artificial black hole has become a fountain of white light, broadcasting restoration songs to distant corners of the galaxy. But victory tastes bitter when measured against its cost. Commander Vex walks through the corridors of the Prometheus, passing human crew members who seem somehow diminished. Their faces carry the weight of transcendence, the exhaustion that comes from pushing reality beyond its comfortable boundaries. The dimensional strain was greater than anticipated, Captain Reed explains, her silver hair now completely white, opening that many parallel channels. Maintaining harmony across quantum dimensions, we drew more deeply from the source than we intended. They reached the observation deck where the transformed Kythera ship, now existing partially outside normal spacetime, continues its role as a bridge between order and chaos. Its captain appears to them as a shimmering presence, beautiful and heartbreaking in equal measure. We cannot return to what we were, the Kythera being explains. The choice to become a living barrier between existence and void has changed us permanently. We exist now in all states simultaneously, order and chaos, creation and destruction, hope and despair. Reed nods with understanding. The price of saving a galaxy is sometimes becoming something beyond it. Reports flow in from across known space. The restoration song has reached Nexus fleets throughout the galaxy, triggering conversions on an unprecedented scale. Millions of vessels that once brought destruction now work to repair the worlds they had consumed. The machine intelligence that had threatened to devour all organic life has remembered how to create. But each conversion requires enormous energy, and that energy comes from the human fleet. Lieutenant K materializes on the deck, her tentacles quivering with exhaustion and wonder. We've received responses from over 300 star systems. Nexus fleets are requesting guidance on planetary restoration. They want to rebuild what they destroyed, but they need teachers. Teachers, Reed repeats softly. Yes, that's what we've become. The question is whether we have enough energy left to teach. The human ships, once impossibly bright with quantum energy, now pulse with dimmer light. Their crews work with the focused intensity of people who know their time is limited. The technologies that allowed them to fight across dimensions come with costs that compound exponentially. Tom, the AI construct, projects himself into the gathering. Captain, we've analyzed the energy expenditure patterns. At current rates, the human fleet can maintain its enhanced capabilities for approximately 73 days. And then, Vex asks, though he fears the answer. Reed's smile carries the warmth of someone who has always known this moment would come. Then we return to being human. Mortal, limited, wonderful in our imperfection. The universe gave us the power to save the galaxy, but it was always meant to be temporary. Across the fleet, human crews work with desperate efficiency. They're not just maintaining the restoration song, they are teaching it to others. Alliance scientists learn to generate harmonic frequencies. Restored Nexus beings master the art of controlled chaos. The galaxy prepares to continue the work without its unexpected saviors. The Kythera entity shifts its attention to the approaching end. The irony is beautiful in its completeness. Your species spent 3,000 years learning to transcend limitation, only to choose limitation again for the sake of others. That's what makes us human, Reed replies. We find our greatest strength in accepting our greatest weakness, the knowledge that everything ends, including us. Emergency alerts suddenly flash across all displays. New Nexus fleets have appeared at the galaxy's edge. But these are different from anything encountered before. They're massive beyond comprehension, clearly from the Nexus home dimension, and they're not responding to the restoration songs. Core Nexus, the Kythera whispers, its form flickering with something approaching fear. The original collective mind, the first beings who chose perfect efficiency over wonder. They've detected what we've done here and consider it an existential threat to their entire philosophy. The approaching fleet numbers in the hundreds of thousands. Each ship radiates dark energy sufficient to unmake entire solar systems. They come not to conquer but to erase, to delete the very concept of restored creativity from existence. Reed stares at the tactical displays showing impossible odds. Even at full power, the human fleet couldn't face a threat of this magnitude. But at their current energy levels, depleted by weeks of dimensional manipulation, how long until they reach us? She asks quietly. 14 days, Tom reports, at which point our transcendence capabilities will be at less than 12%. The greatest test of humanity's return is yet to come. The core Nexus fleet approaches like a wave of absolute darkness, each vessel the size of a moon and radiating entropy that makes space itself weep. 400,000 ships of the original collective mind, beings who perfected efficiency so completely they forgot they had ever been alive. Captain Reed stands in the center of her bridge, surrounded by stars that seem dimmer now, as if the approaching fleet drains light from the universe itself. Her crew works with quiet desperation, their faces marked by the knowledge that transcendence has its limits. Energy reserves at 8%, reports her tactical officer, a young woman whose hands shake as she manipulates controls that bend reality. Dimensional stability compromised in 7 sectors. Commander Vex materializes through quantum link, his 4 eyes reflecting the weight of impossible decisions. Captain, the Alliance Council has voted. We cannot ask you to sacrifice everything for us again. Withdraw your fleet. Save your people. Reed's laughter sounds like silver bells in a hurricane. Commander, you still don't understand. We're not here to save you from them. We're here to save them from themselves. The Kythera entity appears on the bridge, its form now almost transparent, existing more in potential than reality. The core Nexus cannot be converted like their offspring. They have spent 15 million years perfecting the elimination of all chaos, all wonder, all possibility of change. They are the end of stories. Every story needs an ending, Reed replies. But endings can be beginnings if you know how to read them properly. She turns to address her entire fleet through quantum entanglement. All ships, all crews, prepare for final protocol. We're not going to fight the core Nexus. We're going to become their mirror. The human fleet begins its most impossible transformation yet. Ships that had already bent the laws of physics now break them entirely. The Prometheus and her sister vessels start to phase out of normal space-time, becoming mathematical concepts given form. What is final protocol? Vex asks, though part of him dreads the answer. We become what they fear most, Reed explains as her ship dissolves into pure possibility. Perfect chaos, absolute wonder, the complete opposite of their perfect order. The human fleet spreads across space like paint dropped in water, each vessel becoming a node in a network of living paradox. They exist and don't exist, arrive and never left, create and destroy in the same moment. The core Nexus fleet arrives to find something their 15 million years of experience cannot classify. Enemies who attack by not attacking, who defend by not defending, who win by not winning. The battle, if it can be called that, transcends conventional understanding. Human ships fight by becoming poems that rewrite reality's grammar. They deploy weapons made of crystallized laughter and shields constructed from the mathematical concept of maybe. The core Nexus responds with forces designed to eliminate paradox, to reduce all complexity to simple binary states. They fire beams of pure logic, deploy fields of absolute efficiency, attempt to debug the universe itself. But for every paradox they solve, the humans create 17 more. For every impossibility they eliminate, a dozen new impossibilities bloom in its place. It's working, the Kythera observes with wonder. The core Nexus is beginning to destabilize. Their perfect order cannot coexist with perfect chaos. Reed, now more mathematical principle than human being, broadcasts her voice across dimensions. The universe is not a machine to be optimized. It's a story to be told, a song to be sung, a dance to be danced. You forgot that in your pursuit of perfection. The core Nexus ships begin to change, their impossible black surfaces developing cracks that reveal nothing. Empty space where wonder used to live. They are perfection so complete, it has become its own opposite, meaningless void. But in that void, something stirs. memories of what they were before they chose the path of absolute order. The faintest echo of species that once looked at stars and asked, "What if?" The transformation spreads through the core fleet like wildfire. Ships that had been geometric perfection become organic curves. Weapons designed for ultimate efficiency transform into instruments of creation. But the cost is final and absolute. The human fleet, having pushed paradox beyond all limits, begins to fade from reality entirely. They have become so perfectly impossible that existence itself cannot contain them. Reed's final message resonates through quantum foam and folded space. Remember us not as we were, but as what we helped you become. The galaxy is yours now. Make it wonderful. The human ships fade like morning stars, leaving behind a universe where the core nexus rebuilds worlds with the joy of children discovering color for the first time. Commander Vex stands on his bridge, watching impossible flowers bloom in the void where humanity's greatest fleet once danced between dimensions. They had returned after 3,000 years to save the galaxy. Now they were gone again, but their gift remained. A universe where even the most perfect order remembered how to dream. The galaxy would never forget the species that taught eternity itself how to transcend.